So far we've been through the first three mitzvahs. The first mitzvah, the mitzvah of Emunah. There's a Borei Olam. There's a purpose. The world was created for the sake of attaining shleimus, coming closer to Hashem. He created to give and gives us the opportunity to perfect ourselves. In this way, we can come closer to Him and be nene miziv shchinasai. The second, the love of Elohim Acherim, thinking that there's some other road to success. Thinking that there's some other way that we're going to find ourselves ultimately happy. Thinking that another path can deliver. That's aser. Considering it. Living thinking that I'll be dishonest, I'll get rich, and then I'll be happy forever. Another road to success. And the third, yichudai, which is an understanding everything that exists, the good and the evil, everything was created by the Rabbeinu Shalom with one purpose. The purpose to bring us closer to Him. So what's Ra all about? Challenge. Giving us the ability to earn. Giving us the ability to be Yomi Ben Nisayan. Giving us the ability to build ourselves. Otherwise it would be too easy. And this way we could really be nene miziv shchinasa. That's essentially where we're at. We're up to the next two mitzvahs, the mitzvah of Ahavas Hashem and Yiras Hashem. The mitzvah of Ahavas Hashem, we say it daily in Krishma, the mitzvah of loving the Rabbeinu Shalom b'chol levavcha v'chol nafshecha v'chol miyadecha. This is a whole new dimension. See, the first three mitzvahs are all intellectual. It's all a matter of becoming aware of the fact that there is a Borei Olam, becoming aware of the fact that there is purpose, becoming aware of the fact that Ra is not an alternative. It's all intellectual. This mitzvah is the mitzvah of developing an emotional relationship with the Rabbeinu Shalom. This is emotion. So there's a real kasha. How can you force emotion? How could you be mechayev emotion? How can Hashem say you must love Hashem? You must have feelings. Can you tell somebody you got to be happy whether you like it or not? How can you force it? Either you're happy or you're not. The Rambam Kanireh was bothered by this kash. So the Rambam says, how do you get to Ahavas Hashem? In other words, what the Rambam is telling us, the kiyum of this mitzvah is not just sit back and feel Ahavas Hashem. What this mitzvah is mechayiv is that we do the maisim that bring us to Ahavas Hashem. The mitzvah is Ahavas Hashem. The mitzvah is the emotion. But the kiyum ha-mitzvah of getting to the emotion, the kiyum ha-mitzvah is the process of getting there. So that the Rambam says involves his beinonus, thought in what? Two things. The first thing, to be mizbeinin in the teva, the beauty of nature. Now, nature first means the heavens, the stars, Kiera Shemecha, Maseh Etzboisecha, Yoreach V'chachov Mashe Karnanta. Tillim is full of that. Psuka de Zimra. The wonders of nature. So it's the big things and the smaller things, and they're not so small. Food that we eat, the fruits. You make a bracha. You make a bracha, you're acknowledging the fact that Hashem made this. There's a very important thing I think that has to be shared. It's not this particular mitzvah, but why not? There's a Maral who talks about why we make brachas. The Gemara says, if you don't make a bracha, it's mi'ila behektish. Says the Maral, every fruit, if you only look at it and stop and think, it's beautiful, it smells good, it tastes good, it's healthy, how it grows. Every leaf is a solar panel. The leaf collects the rays of light. Photosynthesis, a whole process. The water that's collected goes up through the roots, nourishes. The whole process. It's all ingenious. The Rebbeinu Hashem goes ahead here and gives us food in a way that is pleasing in all ways. It's so perfect. Every fruit declares, I was created by a Borei Olam who is ingenious. It is therefore Kaddish, it has Kedusha. So how do you go and devour it? How do you go and eat it up? Says the Maral, that's what a bracha is all about. We have to replace the Kedusha. In order not to be moil be'ektish, you have to replace the Kedusha by making a bracha. So before you make a bracha, take a look. Take a look at what the apple's telling you. Take a look at what the banana is telling you. The perfection. The human body. This hafla of a fellow. Digestion. Do you know what goes on inside you? The breaking down of food. The enzymes at work. The food is broken down in a way that the various nutrients are sent to the parts of the body that need them. What's not needed is sent out. The blood is constantly being purified. This little kidney purifies the blood. Chalila, when it doesn't work and they have to use a machine, it's not as good and it's so much bigger. The heart, this muscle that pumps an agav, it has its own built-in electrical system. This is not a muscle. But it produces electricity that keeps it going. In theory, the heart does not need the brain to tell it to operate and make it work. It can work on its own. It has its own electricity. The human eye. The human eye. This lens, it focuses, gets bigger, smaller, focuses, takes in just the right amount of light, sensitizes the optic nerve, which sends a message to the brain, which gives us vision. The human body, which is made of like 1 trillion cells that are constantly replenishing themselves. It is just so perfect. And these are all the physical things. How about the human brain? The human brain can create a computer. No computer can create the human brain. Do you know how the brain works? Intuition. Where we are quickly scanning over everything in our memory. And then we make an intelligent guess based on our experiences of what's going to be. And then there's the human psyche. Our personalities, the games we play with ourselves, even the ability to be koifrim, the ability to justify what's wrong, to make ourselves feel good. And even better than that, our ability to see through all of that and catch ourselves when we're being dishonest. The ability to articulate that we can speak to one another, know exactly what we mean. The nuances. Who created all of this? The Borei Olam. You know, the evolutionists, in order to answer so many of the kashas of how it's possible for everything to develop, if it's all random, how did it get this far? By and large, they admit that there's something about this system, about teva, about nature, that is always working to perfect itself and sort of knows which direction to go in. And that's why the mutations are not totally random. These wonders of nature. So they agree that nature is ingenious. How did that happen? Who created a nature that is so perfect that even the evolutionists have to say it knows how to perfect itself? Not just that there's a Borei Olam. The Borei Olam, genius is too small a word. Infinite chokhmah. But even better, infinite chesed. It's all for us. It's all for us. It's all for us. Every fruit was made for every one of us. Gift wrapped. Where if you only bother looking, there's a little note there. Signed by the Borei Olam and said, I was thinking of you. Says the Rambam. You don't feel like getting closer and closer and closer to the source of this. The second is being misbeinen in Torah. And for that you have to be in Torah to appreciate the chokhmah, the endless chokhmah, the experience of learning a sugya, the experience of an amkis, the experience of when it drops and you feel, oh, it makes sense. So Nefesh HaChaim says, in the middle of learning, just think about your learning. But after that, maybe kvel a little bit. And just appreciate, wow, that was great. Between the infinite chokhmah and chesed in the Bria, and the infinite chokhmah and chesed in what the Rebbeinu Shalom gave us in Torah, the human being should feel ecstatic and want to feel closer and closer and closer to the Rebbeinu Shalom. But this is just the beginning. Because there's another part of it. Ramban brings it down. Another form of kiyum, of Ahavas Hashem, is Mesiras Nefesh. And the Ramban, it's clear that you become more of an Ohev Hashem with Mesiras Nefesh. He says when you do a mitzvah and you know you can get killed for it, oh, do you feel close to the Rebbeinu Shalom? It's a little more out of style today. There are fewer such regimes that are executing people for Shmiras Mitzvahs. and we're a little spoiled, and maybe a lot spoiled. But because we're spoiled, we taste Mesiras Nefesh already at a much lower level. When you give something up because you know it's right to give it up, when you put up with hardship, we call that Mesiras Nefesh. Today, in our vocabulary, that's Mesiras Nefesh. Literal Mesiras Nefesh is when you're ready to give your life. We experience Mesiras Nefesh. Every time you do a mitzvah and it's difficult, we're nimnaf min aveira, even though it's tempting. We call that Mesiras Nefesh. Fine. Feel it. Feel how great it is. It makes you feel close to the Rabbeinu Shalom. When you make a sacrifice for another person, you feel so close to him. When you make a sacrifice for the sake of what you feel is the Rabbeinu Shalom, you feel very close to him. All of these things bring about feelings, an emotional relationship with him. The Rambam adds that an Oyev Hashem is Ma'ahev Hashem al Abrius. That the mitzvah of Ahavas Hashem means to be so excited about it that you talk about it. I know to a lot of people, oh, I don't want to be one of those. The Baruch Hashemers, the ones always talking about Hashgacha Pratis. They get on people's nerves. I'm not talking about this in the form of frumkeit. Simply in the form of being overjoyed. Being overjoyed. In the Teichacha we're told that the reason for oynish, the reason for such terrible things is because we weren't oived as Hashem b'simcha. And the question is, where were we ever told that we're mechuyev to have simcha? How could it be? Ein einshim. We can't get an einish for something we're never mitzvah in. Where are we mitzvah in simcha? Samachta b'chagecha. Even that, Chazal tell us, maybe basar v'yayin. Where's there a mitzvah of simcha? You know where's the mitzvah of simcha? The mitzvah of Ahavas Hashem. If you love Hashem, if your eyes are open and you see the beauty of life, you watch with excitement as another challenge approaches, and you know the Rebbeinu Shalom is going to make you big. He's going to make you struggle and you're going to be big. And you enjoy the simchas the Rebbeinu Shalom gives you. How can you not be b'simcha? The mitzvah of Ahavas Hashem is to walk around with a real feeling of joy to be alive. Joy to have been created by the Rebbeinu Shalom, put into this beautiful world. Of living a life where Hashgacha is leading you on a path to become bigger and more mature and wiser and closer to the Rebbeinu Shalom. This is the mitzvah of Ahavas Hashem. In terms of the mitzvah b'poyol, of taking the time to think, that's not a mitzvah tmidis. We have to do this regularly. The mitzvah tmidis is if you regularly do that, then you're in a perpetual state of simcha, of feeling the closeness to the Rebbeinu Shalom, and wanting to be closer and closer. And sometimes when we feel not so close, desiring to come back. This is the mitzvah of Ahavas Hashem. I think this is the first mitzvah you gotta teach a kid in the most simple form. This is even before Emunah. Creating an atmosphere where a home tells a child it's good to be alive. It's great to be here. When people at Davenenu look at all of life as agony and communicate that and are constantly krechzing, we don't know who it was that was Mamtzi that made up Shvertze Zayin Ayid. That is one of the most terrible statements Klal Yisrael has ever come up with. It's so beautiful. So beautiful to be alive, and more beautiful to be a Yid so you know why you're alive. You know why you get up in the morning. You know why you're here. You have goals in life.